Hello, today we're going to be talking about the article Determinants of Selling Effectiveness, the importance of declarative knowledge to the personal selling concept. In particular, we're going to be talking about how new technologies, in specific AI, can help in the selling process. The article explains how a salesperson's declarative knowledge or understanding about the customers, products, and selling situation affects their success in selling. Szymanski, the author of the article, argues that salespeople who understand the customer needs have a more effective approach when selling a product. Successful salespeople are better at identifying the most important traits that influence a customer's buying decision and assigning the right level of importance to that trait. The study found that performance differences between salespeople are due to differences in how well they understand the customer needs and how they use their factual knowledge. By improving the knowledge about the customers and selling context, salespeople can make more effective decisions throughout the selling process. Overall, this study highlights that knowing what to sell and to who is as important as knowing how to sell the product. As you see from the picture, the selling process starts with the declarative knowledge. Then we have the identification of the client product needs and identification of the client selling needs. One is related to the needs of the product, so what are they looking for in a product, and the selling needs is how they want that product or service to be sold. Then it is needed the matching of selling strategy to the client needs. Another part of the process is the prospecting performance, the sales call performance, the sales presentation performance, and the closing performance. We're going to be seeing each of this later on. Now we're going to be seeing each part of the process. We're going to define what that process means and also how new technologies can help in that part of the process. We're going to be starting with identification of the client's product needs. This involves the understanding of what features or benefit the client is looking for in a product. Effective salespeople can accurately determine which product traits are most important to the customers. Now, about the new technologies, for example, AI can analyze the purchase history and preferences to detect the key product requirements, as well as what we call the sentiment analysis can help understand what are the responses or emotional responses to a certain product's feature, whether they like it or not. And then we also have the recommendation engines that can suggest a product matches based on the client profiles or even based on a previous purchases. On to the identification of the client's selling needs, this is recognizing how the clients prefer to be sold. For example, whether they value detailed information or fast responses, or maybe building a relationship with the salespeople to gain trust. It's about modifying the selling approach to fit the customer's style and expectation. Now we have new technologies, for example, the CRM systems can track what is the preferred communication of the client. For example, if they value to be given information via email or via a cell phone call or via messages through the cell phone as well. Then we have the AI chatbots that can gather input from the customers even on real-time basis. So now we're going to be talking about the matching of the selling strategy to the client needs. So once a salesperson understands the client's product and selling needs, they need to align the strategy. This includes choosing the right message, even the tone and approach to increase the probability of a sale. In terms of technologies, AI can now suggest strategies based on similar past events. So before we talked about how AI can suggest similar products based on past purchases, but they can even suggest what was the strategy used before. We also have data-driven personalization to ensure the relevant messages and offers. So it's not a generic offer to all the clients, but more specific to the client's preferences. Then we have the prospective performance. This is the ability to accurately identify and prioritize potential buyers. High performance salespeople use their knowledge to evaluate which leads are worth pursuing and exactly when. About new technologies, now we have algorithms that can rank the prospects by likelihood to turn into a sale. We also have AI identifying buying signals from websites or even emails openings. So, what led to that sale? And we also have predictive analytics to help allocate time to the most promising prospects. So usually we invest more time in those prospects that are more likely to end up in a sale than the ones that are less likely to. Now we have the sales call performance. This measures how effectively a salesperson engages with a prospect during the initial stages, for example, gathering key information as well as setting up the next steps of the process. In terms of new technologies, we have now voice analytics that can assess and can study the tone and even the engagement level of that potential client. Also, AI tools now generate call summaries. So after the conversation with a client, you can generate a summary from that conversation and even get the highlight key points from that discussion. Also, there are tools that schedule or optimize the a time to call a client in terms of their availability. And even now, clients can even choose when they want to be called, and in this way, we can increase the possibility of securing a sale. In terms of sales presentation performance, this refers to how well the salesperson communicates the product value during the formal pitch, including how they address the client's specific needs as well as the objections throughout the process. We have now tools that recommend content formats based on different engagement trends, as well as eye tracking and feedback tools to measure the effectiveness of this visual material when doing the pitch for the product. And also, A/B testing can help to refine that final message that you want to transmit to the client to finally secure that sale that is in process. Closing performance is the ability of a salesperson to successfully finalize the sale, to close this deal with the client. AI can help in this process. For example, now AI can track the client's hesitation or objections even on real time. So the salespeople can have this feedback on real time and they can adjust the closing performance or even they can adjust their pitch throughout the process on real time. We also have automation tools to prepare proposals, even contracts, and also the closing scripts or techniques can be refined by AI based on past outcomes or past experiences with that client or even with clients that have a similar profile than the ones that we are dealing with. As a conclusion, we know that today companies are using artificial intelligence to make faster and more informed decisions. Traditionally, in the past, decisions were usually slower and they require more analysis, but now with AI, this enable faster, real-time, and data-driven actions that can improve the performance of a company. AI can act as an extension of a salesperson declarative knowledge by analyzing the data in a quicker way, as well as analyzing the preferences and behaviors of the clients. But it is very important to highlight that while, yes, speed is a benefit of AI, AI does not replace the human judgment or experience. Rather, it enhances the way it is providing insights and different like suggestions. It is said that organizations that can combine the human expertise and the human knowledge with the AI can gain a competitive advantage in today's market.